Oh yeah, let's get to
Young Thug and one of his YSL co-defendants are accused of pulling off a hand-to-hand drug deal while in court during jury selection for Young Thug's RICO trial. This guy, Khalif Adams, walked over to Thug and clearly hands him an object. Aside from the cameras, at least two bailiffs were just a couple feet away and saw the whole transaction and immediately nabbed Adams. A deputy later discovered the object was a baggie of Percocet pills. Oh, okay, so I thought it was just one Percocet pill. It was a whole baggie.
That's what I heard too, yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking this is a lot of risks to take for one perk.
And also I saw
Which you could have just eaten right away.
Well, he did, which we'll probably get to that. While Adams is a defendant in the YSL RICO case, he is already serving a life without parole sentence for murder. Thug's lawyer denies his client had anything to do with the drug deal, as the state claims. He says Thug complied after being instructed to hand over the pills to the deputy, which I think is, if anything is going to save Young Thug in terms of this, it's that how are they going to prove that he willingly intercepted it and didn't just think that he was getting a handshake? Anyway, Thug's lawyers deny his clients had anything to do with the drug deal. He complied. When deputies searched Khalif, they say that he had more perks, marijuana, tobacco, and other contraband wrapped in plastic and food seasoning to mask the scent of the weed. He was taken to a nearby hospital because authorities suspected he swallowed other drugs in an attempt to conceal them. Both Thug and Adams were being blamed for delaying court. I'm just going to be real.
That's insane.
This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Like, I thought, I've always, sometimes I feel like the fans don't get how much drugs rappers really do. Because there's been so many times where I've just been around rappers and I didn't even really think of them like that or whatever. And then I just realized, oh, that dude just bought 200 perks and he just woofed down 4 fucking perks to the face in the studio. And because rappers do rap about it, but then people think, oh, rappers just rap about drugs to seem cool, right? I mean, dude, a lot of rappers have profound drug addictions. And this to me is just probably the most extreme example ever. Could you imagine explaining to your parents right now that there's this guy and he's on trial for murders and shit?
Look how terrible this transaction is.
And he did this? Wait. Oh yeah, we actually
look how terrible this is. It's not smooth at all.
Security caught it though. You see how
look at this. He just
he
caught that guy in the blue shirt.
Yeah.
How obvious can you be?
Oh my, I thought it was gonna be
dapping up, what's up, fool?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna look like it made sense, or there was a chance of them getting away with it.
Yeah,
that looked like the worst fucking drug deal I've ever seen.
I'm starting to think that YSL were not the criminal masterminds we thought they were.
Their lawyer should use this as evidence, this fucking little interception. They're like, this is how they deal drugs.
Think about the fact that the jury saw this.
Bro,
the jury knows that this happened.
I mean, to me, what I see here is just desperation.
Yeah,
you want to get high so bad. I don't know if he's either. I mean, I'm assuming if it's like this, you're already off the shits and you don't want to get dope sick, because there's no way if you've been clean for a while, you'd want to just get.
That's what I was
But
wondering.
he's been in there for almost a year.
That doesn't mean that there hasn't been specific ways.
Right.
You
But
know
I'm
what I mean?
sure it can't be that hard for somebody like Young Thug who has all the money in the world to get perks or lean.
That's
or
what I'm saying.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it also seems in this situation that it must be pretty hard for him to get perks if they have to go to this extreme in order for him to get a small baggie of perks, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what frequency you'd be taking them behind bars, but a small baggie of perks for a lot of people is 1 to 2 days of Percocet use, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the price of everything
skyrockets.
Yeah.
I mean, literally a joint could be $100.
But Young Thug is supposed to have $50 million. He's
50?
supposed. I mean, I don't know. He's supposed to have an absurd amount of money, right? He's put all these huge songs over the years. I'm not saying he's the smartest with his money,
Yeah.
but he signed Gunna. He signed all these fucking other artists.
He still has music checks coming in every month.
That's
probably,
what I'm saying.
you know?
Think about the risk reward.
But
The
that's what I'm
risk
saying.
is basically additional charges, the jury seeing it, this coming out
Ruining
in the
the
media,
case, yeah.
basically you looking like an unhinged drug addict to the public, and then the reward is a small baggie of Percocets.
But like you were
what
saying,
are we talking about?
do you think he's in 24/7 solitary confinement, that he has to try to get drugs in the fucking courtroom? That's the only way he can interact with someone.
No.
It's definitely a very desperate plan.
Yeah.
How about this though? Plot twist. They're gonna introduce a new defense of I didn't mean to do any of this. I've been an addict this whole time.
No, but what about this? What if Young Thug says, this guy fucks with me, And, like, what if this is a reality? What if this guy just fucks with Young Thug, loves him, knows he's probably struggling right now, and he just actually went out of his way to give him a small bag of Percocets?
That is a possibility.
It was just a gift from a fan.
Or
And
Was
Young
it a
Thug
fa-
is completely innocent. I don't know if I believe that at all.
nah. Or Fannie Willis, who is one of the smartest, craftiest DA ever, put him up to it.
Oh my god, to
Come
make
on.
Thug look worse, that's crazy. That'd be
Because that
insane.
guy, right, is already serving life. He has nothing to lose, right? Like, right, you feel me?
The dude-
Probably
with
the
the-
perk god behind bars.
yeah.
Does this? I mean, yeah, he had a bunch of drugs on
Yeah,
him.
nothing to lose.
Those
Does-
perks were definitely in his asshole earlier that day.
Oh,
Oh my
absolutely.
god.
2 knuckles deep.
I didn't even think about
How,
that.
how much does this affect the overall dynamics of the case?
We're gonna have to find out. But
It's
I mean,
probably gonna make it worse. I would think so.
I don't really think it's going to have an effect either way. I don't think it's going to have a profound effect.
Do you think that Thug kind of feels like he's not getting out of jail and he's like, "Fuck it, dude. I just need some drugs. I'm gonna be in here regardless for the rest of my life." Like,
Might be a little
Nah,
bit of
because the
that.
most that Thug would do is probably like what, like 20, 25 years?
That's a long fucking
okay, but
time,
think
bro.
about it. Like, what is this charge? It's like, is it that much worse to do a drug deal in court than it is to just do a drug deal in general? I don't know. I'm not a fucking lawyer, but like, what is the charge, and how is that charge going to even pale? The charge is going to pale in comparison to charges of murder, or like, you know,
dude, now I
ordering murders,
really
right?
feel like Johnny Depp's wife was doing coke in court now. Because they're like a while ago during the people were speculating. Now I feel like she
I
really
gotta
was.
pee. I'll be right back.
It's definitely a possession and exchange of contraband. It's definitely going to be, you feel me, possession of a controlled substance.
Is there like an additional charge for the fact that it happened in a courtroom? You think?
That's a good question. I would assume.
Oh yeah.
It's
well,
on, federal property.
Oh yeah,
right?
federal property or
yeah.
some shit. But honestly, in that video that we saw, it looks like Young Thug wasn't. It didn't look like he was waiting for anything. It didn't look like they were making eye contact. It looked like that guy just came up to him out of nowhere. Who knows if it was planned
Man,
beforehand
stop
or
it,
not?
bruh.
But it looked like Young Thug was not
It was
expecting
planned for
anything.
show.
Okay, but I'm
Listen,
saying
yeah,
his
yeah,
lawyer
yeah.
can argue that like
Of
he
course
didn't
it's
know
planned.
nothing. He was just
But
sitting
that
there.
guy, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
bro, yeah. Yeah, you feel me?
No, he definitely
Yeah.
knows him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, and the dude who gave him the drugs is serving life in jail.
Yeah, already.
How the fuck did he get the drugs?
I mean, like, he's serving life.
Well, bro, he's the fucking plug.
This shit's crazy, dude. Wait,
like
what?
through the DA. No, sorry, through the through the-
COs.
yeah.
Bro,
damn.
bro had fucking perks. He had weed on him. And occasionally.
Visitors. Yeah.
They could
That's
have
true.
thought of like a million better.
Well,
Oh, sending kites to one another.
that's not what a kite means. Yeah. Fools have literally tried to use drones to like bring
Oh,
things
yeah.
onto yards
Successfully,
before.
too.
Successfully and
Yeah.
unsuccessfully.
Isn't that crazy, right? Like, if criminals were this innovative in like just in outside of jail, yo, they'll be like,
Well, that's people talk about
Mad
it all the time.
successful.
A lot of people who,
yeah.
a lot of people have crazy, not a lot, but there's a good portion of people who have crazy charges. They're in jail for a long ass time, and they're very, they're very smart actually, and they can put themselves to good use if they do good things. But they're trying to steal cars instead of starting a business. You know what I mean? That's the difference.
Yeah,
what?
that dude's the best. Yeah.
I've heard it, never watched it.
Amazing movie. Leonardo DiCaprio's a goat. But
It's about that.
well, it's about a dude that's like a con artist and literally like evades federal capture
And he's very talented, but you.
and convinces people he's a pilot.
Oh my god.
After they arrest him, ends up working for the government and helping catch check fraud in the future.
Oh wow, that's so funny. Actually, I think I might have seen this movie, but
Yeah.
no, yeah, it's true. It's like if you apply yourself to the right things, you could probably do amazing things sometimes. But people apply themselves in the wrong way.
Well, and the thing is, like, look, criminality in its essence is like bred by laziness, and this is coming from someone that's like leaned more into doing illegal shit for the majority of my life. It's you want to find a shortcut. You don't want to do things the regular way. I mean, yeah, you could say you're thinking outside the box, but it's really like it's bred by laziness.
You know what's interesting? I got into this discussion with Almighty last time I was on the news with him, and we were talking about like people being a product of their environment, right? Where I was saying that like it's easy. People have the decision between right and wrong, and he was saying that like no, if you were to grow up in a certain environment, like you just tend to make these types of decisions, right? It's like you don't even see the option for the better. But
Which there is a lot of truth to.
that is true. But did you see Smokey Robinson's DJ Vlad interview?
Gang banging.
Yeah, dude. Smokey Robinson was talking about how he's like, dude, he's like, I grew up in a very crazy area, and then he's like, now to my kids, he's like, I always tell my kids like, don't ever tell me anything about no peer pressure. He's like, I had all the peer pressure in the world. And he's like, I got invited to car burglaries, thefts, murders. He's like, I said no to that shit because I didn't want to do it. And he grew up in that environment.
He's also the exception to the rule, and he
Yeah.
also is someone that has this insane talent
True.
that he
But
probably
this
knew
was before he
had.
was talented.
Well, no,
Well,
you're
before he
born
was
with
sa-
that. You're born with talent.
This is before he was successful, I mean.
Right, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like that you could kind of get
You have another option.
right. Like
potentially,
that.
yeah.
That's like Michael Jordan being like, I could have fucking done this, but like Allen Iverson, like
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like if you have another way out, you're not necessarily gonna feel
but
as desperate.
right. But I don't feel like even like the environment is ever an excuse, right? Especially if you grew up in America, right? Like no circumstance in America
Yeah.
is so foul. It's so dangerous. Again, right? Like if you choose to like be a freaking criminal, like listen, man, I grew up in a fucked up environment. I ain't have no choice. Like that shit doesn't make sense to me at all, right? Because again, you have school, like you have trades.
And we have so many success stories of
Bruh.
people who come from crazy environments and they
There's
make
a
something.
plethora of fucking options, right?
They make something of themselves.
It's just, but they're. I understand
lazy
why,
fucks.
but I understand why you're saying that, especially like coming from Africa and things like that, where there's a lot of people genuinely don't have options beyond their environment and circumstance, right?
They do too, right?
But not to the same extent as
Yeah,
in America. Not
yeah.
to the same extent. Like
because
like
if you grew up in the hood, right? Let's say this, right?
if you're from like the favelas in Brazil,
Yeah.
there's not really too many options outside of that to blow up.
Yeah, because
Like,
listen, man, because if you grew up in the hood, I'm talking about mom on crack, daddy on crack, you feel me, right? But you still have a roof to be in, you feel me? Yo, you can you are homeless, mom on crack, orphan. Yo, you still have the access to go to kindergarten through 12th grade for absolutely fucking free, right? So again,
But dude, I mean, people are the culmination of what their fucking parents tell them and teach them about life. Like when I see the kids at the parties that I go to in my neighborhood or whatever, and I see how fucking well taken care of these kids are and how their parents are just absolutely obsessed with their well-being. But that's also something that all of these people being in a relatively high income bracket are afforded. They probably didn't have kids until they were able to put that much attention into them. They're able to send them to nice schools and buy them stuff and whatever. But I mean, I think when Lush says the mental image of like the favelas in Brazil, and think about a kid growing up in that environment and how hard it would be for him to make something out of himself. Then you think about like a kid in fucking, Harlem. You think about a kid in Compton or whatever. Now, is it easier for somebody like AD to make it up out of Compton than a kid from the fucking favelas in Brazil? Yeah, for sure. But it's still very fucking difficult.
Oh, yeah,
and
of
it's
course.
still like when I think about the kind of life my kid is going to have, it's just not going to take it. Like she will always know a degree of comfort and safety, and she'll always like understand that there are these options laid out right in front of her. She'll always be taught about the importance of school, and even sometimes when I look at basic stuff, like me and my girl like reading to her at night and stuff, it's like I know I've read the statistic. There's a lot of parents that just don't do that. A lot of parents turn the fucking TV on at some point and just let their kid chill out. So I mean, I have like a lot of fucking empathy when it comes to, like even like, is this enough to make me like excuse Young Thug doing probably the most reckless thing I've ever seen a rapper do in court? I mean, not specifically, but I definitely understand that not everybody comes from the same background, man.
even like if the majority of the people in your environment are all moving in a certain direction and certain behaviors are being rewarded and respected, like it's going to be more difficult. And even regardless of circumstances, no matter what your socioeconomic background is, there's people that make foolish decisions ultimately.
Yeah.
of course.
It's like, just because you grew up with, maybe like some crazy abusive alcoholic father, a lot of people will tend to steer away from the negative aspects of characteristics they see when they're growing up because they're like, I don't want to do that negative shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'd rather be a normal person or a nice person, forgiving person, or a loving person instead of, being this like crazy thing, because you see what it becomes, right? It's like in your environment, yes, you could be influenced by it, but then also you could also be influenced by it the other way, where you're like, I don't want to do that crazy shit, dude, that I see leads people to, making bad decisions.
Not for sure. Like